Okay, ciao a tutti, buongiorno. Today, assuming that I get to the train station on time, we're doing a trip to Verona. Not with the school, just me and a couple of the guys from school. And I thought, seeing as I've got my camera with me, I'm going to take it with me, show you guys around, and while I'm there, answer some of the questions that you guys most often come up with on my YouTube channel.
Ciao! Come stai?
Bene. Ulf is very upset because he went to the barbers and they took off far more beard than he was expecting, so this is him trying to hide it from the internet. At some point you're going to have to show your beard on camera. No? Okay. Alright, I think this is the first time that you guys have actually been here while I've been vlogging, so let's say hi.
Ciao.
Ciao, come stai Laura?
Bene, bene, e tu?
Bene, grazie. Ciao Ulf.
Alfin, questo è...
Claudia.
Claudia.
Parlo molto bene italiano.
Sì. Claudia è la nostra vera italiana.
Almeno ci provo.
So now this is something that we just really don't have in Bologna. I'm so upset about that. There's no water at all and barely any greenery, so it's really nice to come here and be... I feel like I'm in the countryside even though I'm really not. Anyway, the guys are just visiting this church that you can see behind me there. So I thought I would use this opportunity to kick off with these frequently asked questions that I always get. I'm going to find somewhere to sit first, hang on. Okay, this is as good as we're going to get, I think. So Danny Shago asks, how long for you to master the German language? Well, I think we take the idea of my having mastered German with a pinch of salt. I'm reasonably confident in German, I'm not sure about mastering it. I've been learning German on and off for like the last 4, 5 or even 10 years, depending on how you count it. So I did a little bit at school, but then I did more at university, and I think that's when it really started to become a thing. But it was never my main subject at university, it was just a side subject, a Nebenfach, if we're using German. The first time I properly went to go and learn German was a trip I did to Hamburg 3 years ago now. But that course in Hamburg and a course the following year in Berlin are the only 2 times I've ever properly gone to Germany, you know, in order to study the language, you know, and just live there and attend school every day. So I guess the short answer is about 4 years of it being in my head, only 2 months of actually studying it properly, and probably about a year of you know, trying to do it a lot, trying to do it like every day. Okay, next question is from Young Nope, who asks, what lens, what camera are you using to film your videos? If you want to know all of the stuff that I use, there's a link in the description, all of my kit, but this video, for example, is being filmed on a Canon 750D with a Sigma zoom lens. It's like it's an 18 to 50mm lens. I really like it. It's got a nice f-stop range and, you know, a couple of other features that I like. It's stabilized as well, which means it's so much better for, like, you know, if I want to do this and talk to you for a minute, like, it's a really heavy camera, so my arm starts to shake, but the video itself is normally reasonably stable. That stabilization is so important for vlogging. Okay, next question, Rick Taylor. Do you find that French helps you with your Italian? I'm B1 level in French, and with no training in Italian, I can still understand you when you speak Italian. Well, I've found that it has been so helpful. Whenever we learn a new bit of grammar at school, it's always so similar to what I learned in French that I just kind of have to get used to using the new structure. So yeah, French has been really helpful, and it's really helped me catapult my Italian. But it's not necessary in any way, and if you're starting from scratch, I still think that Italian is a great language to start learning. If it's your first foreign language, I think Italian would be a really good choice. I can just see Ulf. We're just trying to walk around it.
Okay, com'era?
Bellissima.
Bellissima?
Bellissima, l'arte romano.
Che bello allora.
che bello, è una bellissima città.
So if you remember the last time I used the drone, there was a certain amount of disaster involved. This is actually going to be the first flight after I fixed it, so let's see if this works or if it plunges into the lake, or the river rather, but it's just too pretty not to film, you know? I'm so happy that it's not crashed yet.
Just looks so funny, you with your balloon.
Oh, Tom, it's pretty. It's a very naughty balloon. It's very naughty. Ulf's been doing English accents recently, so obviously everything is naughty. It's naughty, my balloon. It's a naughty balloon! Frankly, I find the whole thing in very poor taste and really rather uncouth. Oh. Okay, we're just at the station now, about to head home. I'm looking much more red than when I started. Hang on, let me change the... There you go. Can you see how sunny it's been? And I'm just going to find a spot to do the last couple of questions. Hang on. So one of the questions that I always get on my channel is about how I afford my trip, how I'm paying for everything. And it makes sense. I can understand why me sort of basically perpetually going on holiday would be something that people would be interested in, how I'm paying for it. Basically, I used to work for a big company in London for about 4 years, and for the final 8 months or something like that, they sent me to go and work on a big project in Hong Kong and Malaysia, and I had a really great time doing that project, meeting loads of people working. But something that was quite lucrative was the fact that the company was paying for my accommodation, my food, everything while I was there. So for those 8 months I was able to save up so much money, and like just added that to the pile of money that I had already been saving up for this trip. So it was a real big kick, and it meant that I can now afford to travel for like a significant amount of time before I have to get a job, which I am going to have to do very soon. I mean, if you've been following me since the start, then that's like a 9-month trip, and traveling without income for 9 months is hard. So we're getting to the point where I might need to find a job again, which I'm not sure how I feel about that really. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, here's another question from a guy called St. Petersburg. You're pretty good at learning European languages, but could you learn Japanese, for example, as easily and quickly as you've learned other languages? Well, I think the short answer is probably no. I think I rely a lot at the moment on my language knowledge from things like French, from things like German, in order to learn things like Italian and Dutch. So I'm pretty sure that if I was going to start doing something like Japanese, Korean, Arabic, I would find it really tough to start off with, but that's exactly why I want to go and do something like that. There's a big train about to go past. Hang on. Now the microphone's pointing at me, this should be okay. So I think if I was going to go and learn something non-European based, it would be a lot harder and it would take me much more time. But it's a challenge I really want to do, and the next language on my list after Italian is probably Arabic or something like that. Okay, the last question that I always get is about maintaining lots of different languages. You know, how do you go out and learn French and Dutch and German and Italian and keep it all in your brain at the same time? And this is another one where the short answer is I don't. I actually find it quite difficult to do that, and since I left Holland, my Dutch has definitely decreased. Laure, who you saw a moment ago, she actually used to live in Holland, so she knows a little bit of Dutch. And whenever we've spoken about it, we've basically both agreed that our current level of Dutch is awful. Whoa! That was literally nearly just got my camera taken out by this train. Alright, let's go somewhere safe. What was I saying? Maintaining languages, right. So, I mean, I only learned Dutch for like 20 days, so the fact that that is decaying and I'm not as good as I was, that makes perfect sense to me. I don't feel like that is a strange thing at all. What has shocked me much more is that Laure is French, and when we tried to speak in French, I realised that I had lost so much of my French ability just in the sort of month and a half-ish it had been at the time since I've been here in Italy. In some ways it's surprising, but in others, I guess, the similarities between Italian and French are so close that I think every time I've been adding a bit of Italian into my brain, it's been removing a bit of French, to the extent that trying to speak French with la is like almost impossible. Really, it is. It's really bad. So I'm definitely going to have to go and, you know, watch some films, read some books, like really revise my French. There's a lot of work you have to do to maintain a language, and I think now that I'm on, you know, language 4, I'm really realizing that. Anyway, our train has just arrived, so I'm going to go and run and get it before I miss it. Hey! Safely on the train, heading back home. A little bit better than earlier. Say goodbye, Ulf.
Bye bye.
No, say bye properly. Bye.
So listen, actually
This is a little lesson in French morale.
No, but the liver of the snail is not there anymore because you boil the snail before
The
you
liver.
eat it. No, what I mean is that when you boil the snail, then there's nothing left. There's no like. You
Whereas-
basically don't taste.
But whereas when you cook a horse, it's full of bacteria. Is that what you're saying?